And we are live from the Best Western Plus Resort in Knoxville, Tennessee. Are you on mute? Do you have your mute on? I hear an echo.
I do have my mic on mute.
Okay.
I almost feel like it's just sound coming through my phone.
Okay.
I don't know. My mic is on mute.
All right. Now the technical stuff's out of the way. Live from the Best Western Resort Plus in Knoxville, Tennessee. We are here to break down the Syndicate Crown final day action. What went on? Who's punching their ticket? Who's going to the games? Wow, we got Seema Cannons in the house. We got Holly. We got Kenneth. What's going on, guys? Helson Albernaz is there. It says, hello, I'm sad. Taylor, Annika, and Prevos. Couldn't have said it better myself. So we went in today with 3 events remaining. And things started off pretty hot. We had the
row handstand
walk event. Mama Schweitzer's in that crowd. So we started out with that one, and there were so many close races. But I think the theme of the day, and it started with this event, were that people from the first couple heats were setting the time to beat.
Yeah.
And in this event, it was like no other, and or all the others. Ashley Wozni came out on fire in that first event. Dana Paran actually won the first heat. Then Ashley Wozni beat the time in the second heat, and she actually ended up finishing top 5.
Yeah, it was solid.
So that shook up the leaderboard quite a bit, because Ashley actually jumped 10 spots on that performance for the women. And then when it came to the end, it was, of course, everybody thought it was Danielle Brandon's event to win. And what actually happened, Jamie?
I can't even remember the final heat. Was it like, oh, well, Haley, she rode incredible.
She did. And then once she hit the handstands, nobody was catching her.
Yeah.
So I believe it went Haley, Tia, Raptis, then Wozni, or
Danielle was up there. I think Danielle might have beat Raptis on the last 2 feet.
Yeah. I just was shocked. Danielle did not run on her hands like she normally does.
Yeah, she didn't look like she was moving as fast. Which it seems to be more of a rowing workout, but you expect when Danielle flips upside down to be out walking everybody, and that was not the case. I mean, she was walking in time with the other girls on the floor.
Holly said Danielle actually came in 10th in that event.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that was not at all expected. It was a close race at the top. I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah, I mean, the last 20 feet of that walk was pretty close between.
It actually was Haley Adams, Brooke Wells.
Oh, yeah, Brooke.
Then Tia. Then Annika.
Yep.
From the third heat. And then Ashley Wozni from the second heat.
Yeah.
Then Raptis.
Annika and Brooke were together.
Oh, that's right.
And Brooke had overtaken Annika on the rower. Just a hair. That was such a tight race. That one was so fun to watch.
It was. And then when the men came up, it was very, very similar. Was it the third heat? Maybe because Rosema had to tuck and shoot his leg out to get the win of that heat.
Yeah, that was the third heat.
I hate that it resets to overall every time. So it ended up in the third heat. Rosema won with Vigno and Parker, and it was bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
Jack Farlow dominated the first heat, and ended up with a 5th place finish. But the event actually was Hopper, Pepper, Cornway to start off the final heat. So, but there were crazy finishes all over the place on every heat of that, except for Farlow dominating the first. So much fun to watch. Lots of screaming around because we could not tell with the naked eye who had won what.
No.
But it was crazy.
And that one, I feel like the way you finished your handstand walk mattered, at least for those guys, because it was such a tight race. They needed to be they just needed to be very calculated with the way they came down on their handstand or rolled like Jack did, to make sure that chip timer immediately ticked over.
Yeah, it actually prompted a lot of discussion in the pits about what was the best way to end that race. Like, take 2 more steps on your hands, do the front somersault, or pull down and tuck under. Everybody had their own theory. But when you're relying on a chip timer, I think staying on your hands doesn't give you the sense of security that it's going to trip.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Helson says, Farlow had a great day 3. He sure did, man. Being down at the bottom for most of day 1 and 2, and then to finish 17th overall. Lots of great performances by Jack today.
Yeah. He looked like what we would have expected day 1 and 2.
So what do you take from the Danielle thing, not running on her hands?
I don't know. I don't know if she was just being calculated this weekend and making sure there was no mistakes. Not that I think she would have gotten a mistake in that workout. So it is it is interesting. I don't see her needing to change anything about her handstand walking to make sure she doesn't make an error. But we saw some fingertips touching sides of tape and things like that, getting people no reps, or kind of like Tudor last week, starting with your fingertip just grazing that start of the line. So maybe she just took things slower. I don't know.
My conspiracy theory is she did it just to mess with us all.
She did it to blow the heat 1 out.
Not necessarily heat 1, just because she's known as the handstand walker. And like, I don't want to be known as that. So I'm just going to take this one chill. I'm in a good spot. I don't need to. So that's my conspiracy theory. Just to be defiant, like Danielle likes to be. Like, I'm going to show you. Don't call me the handstand walker. I'm going to have a nice, consistent weekend and just punch my ticket.
Maybe. Or do you think she wasn't fully confident she could win it and didn't want to try and fail?
Bruce, was it a row workout or not? I don't think it was a row workout. I think it was whatever you wanted it to be.
It was a row workout.
If you ask Andrea Solberg in Europe whether it was a handstand walk or a row, she'd tell you it was a handstand walk.
It was a row workout. Who won the workout?
Here?
Who won the workout worldwide?
Laura.
Okay.
So if you had that prop and you thought the world record was going to fall today, it did not.
And who won the record men worldwide?
Cole Griesaber. I'm guessing because I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't know.
Elson agrees. It was a real workout. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah, but Andrea Solberg finished second in
Yeah.
Europe, and that she did not attack that as a row workout. She's so good on her hands. That's what she attacked it as.
Then I don't know. There's something going on with the rest of the field in Europe because.
Thank you, Kenneth. It was a CrossFit workout.
I mean, sure, you couldn't suck on your hands. You couldn't stop every 12-foot increment. You definitely couldn't win doing that. So you needed to be good on your hands, but it was a rowing workout.
Bruce says, word is Danielle bet big on the Heat One app. Yeah, all that cash. So that's the end of that. It is what it is. Hopper won. And yeah. Who won for that? Haley won.
Hopper and Haley.
So then, and I do want to say too, right before that workout, you and I looked down at Haley on the start mat. Completely different Haley.
She was having fun.
She was singing along to the music playing in the arena. She was swaying, dancing, whatever you want to call it, to that. Look super calm. Nothing like we've seen her in the past. Oh my goodness. Look who's joined us.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
We don't want to bug you.
I don't know what you guys have talked about. I missed the first part.
We just talked about the event 4. And then argued whether it's a row workout or a handstand workout.
It's 100% a rowing workout. Unless you have very, very fast handstand walks, it's a rowing workout.
Yes.
Okay.
This was a power output day.
Depends on who you are.
But if you have very, very fast handstand walk, you can stay in the race. But it's mostly a rowing workout.
Okay. I'd already lost before you came. You just slam dunked it over my head.
Yeah.
Even harder.
Chloe and I were talking about it after she had done her event. We're like, yeah, that was more of a rowing capacity workout. Because you can get a lot of a head start like over the 3 rounds, especially the 800 and the 600. You can make up some time where like, even if someone goes really, really fast on their hands, if you're a good rower, you can do some damage. Yeah, I mean, prime example, I think Danielle lost her very first handstand workout ever. You need it to be good at both.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it was more important to be a really good rower out of the 2.
Yeah, I agree now. Like everybody slam dunked on me. I'm good. But Danielle did not look like Danielle, typical Danielle on her hands. So I don't know what was up with her that she didn't kick in that gear.
I think it's a lot of pressure for her. Every time she's done handstand walk workouts, she's talked about that's like the most anxious that she gets, or like pressure that she has, because she knows she's expected to win. So,
well, my conspiracy theory was that she doesn't want to be known as a handstand walker anymore, and she just said, I'm just building bricks this weekend, and I'm doing well, and if I'm just consistent, it's good enough.
Doubtful, but maybe.
So Carolyne's been on for all of 2 minutes, and she slam dunked me twice. Glad you jumped on the show, Carolyne. All right. Bruce Wayne says, always great to slam dunk on Scott. I've been posterized twice. All right. So then we could move to event 5, which was the snatch ladder. So many crazy finishes. Like, for most people, this workout really came down to that last bar.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my gosh. My mom is saying, go Carolyne.
Thank you. That was a rough go this weekend, but we're here.
So it seemed like unless there were just a handful of people that got capped, and then it was how fast could you get through that last barbell once you switched over midway up the floor to the last 2 rounds on the new barbell.
Mm-hmm.
And some people did it really quick and some people struggled a little bit. Are you willing to walk us through how that felt, Carolyne?
For me?
Or just overall as an analyst?
I'm very impressed with Shelby Neal taking it. I think she got a second on that one. She's a great lifter. Like when I looked at her do clean and jerk last year and her snatch last year at the games, for someone who's like smaller on the smaller side, she moves very, very well. So she did. Yeah, she had a great finish there. For me, it was the quads were kind of blown up a little bit in my lower back. As I was like progressing through like the snatch ladder. But yeah, I mean, it's impressive how fast the girls are just able to snatch that weight. Like you said, there's not that many that didn't finish. I don't know how that compares to the other regions, but it seems like there's most people ended up finishing here than maybe some of the other regions.
Yeah, I want to say only like 4 or 5, maybe 5 didn't finish here. And I think it's typically been 10 to 12 in other regions.
And one girl, Elena Savage, she withdrew. So 5 out of 39.
Yeah.
Instead of 40. Just crazy because I did that snatch ladder in 2016 and I got capped at I think I was like 7 reps at the 145 that year. And like I finished, I mean, I missed 3 or 4 snatches. Today was not my best day, but like 8 something, like late 8s. And like, it's like a horrible finish, which is just crazy to think just how far sport is. Like we're just so strong.
So I'm going to ask you a question and you can slam dunk on me again if you want. So you hit that last bar and you nailed the first snatch. Like I was getting excited, like, oh my gosh, she's nailing it. And then that's when the difficulty set in for you. Is that a weight that takes so much of your energy and exertion in that moment that it's really hard to recover and hit it a second time?
No, I thought I felt fine going back to the barbell to reattempt. Like I thought that they were good misses. Like it wasn't like I was getting like really sucked under the barbell. Like there was like the one I had stepped forward. It was, it's a game of inches for snatch. I was just a little bit ahead of me every time. Yeah, just a little off in the execution all weekend really for me. Was off here and there. And in this type of field, it's so good. It's so deep. You miss 10 seconds here and it's like 5 spots here. Like it just keeps adding up. The field's just too good to have a moderate execution.
We were talking with Brian Friend, and I don't think any of us had seen a competition with so many close finishes where like fractions of a second were making the difference in 3 or 4 spots.
Absolutely. The field was just so deep, right? Like this was, in my opinion, the deepest of the fields. So yeah, like those points just add up over the weekend. And like you said, there's seconds and it's 5 people. You're like, gosh.
Yeah. Like there were 7/100ths of a second on the one race. Like it's getting down to like less than tenths of a second. It's so tight with this field. It's like I told everybody, and I actually ran into a couple listeners who came to semifinals because we talked about it. And now they said they're never going to the games again. They just want to go to semis. That's how exciting it was.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was super evident with the wins, not necessarily wins, but times to be being set and difficult times to be being set early. And you don't really get that at the games. Like you get like a decent time, and then heat 2 comes and it gets beat, and then heat 3 comes and it gets beat. Like, each heat is getting better. Like, it's self-seeded by the end of the day, and that there was no way like you weren't going to have that no matter how you seeded this weekend. Like, there was always going to be a top 5 time out of heat 1.
Yeah, every heat was relevant. Every heat was relevant. I still think this seeding. Oops. Can you still see me?
Yep.
Sorry, so a window popped up. I was doing work before here. I still think that like the seeding is just messed up over the weekend. Out of all the semis, we talked about that, like seeding after the first workout, not seeding after the last workout. But regardless, every heat's just relevant because everyone's good here.
It also shows you that the allotment of spots around the world is off.
Way off.
Because there's no way that this field should have been cut at 11 on both sides,
including the teams at 8.
Agreed, completely. And it was
because the teams, I don't know if you guys talk about teams, but like the North America East teams are, I mean, taken like, yeah, Invictus and maybe 1 or 2 teams from Oslo area and a couple teams from Australia, but like North America East is always the deepest region. Like those other regions might have a couple top teams, but they're not the depth of North America East for teams. So to give them 8 spots to me is ridiculous. Those teams should have at least 10 to 11. 11, so that Pro 1 gets in there.
And I was listening, I think John and JR were talking about, of the qualifiers from the East, how many would have good potential to finish in the top 10 at the games. And they kind of plotted it out and came up with 6 names, and really only 4 others in their top 10 from other regions, 2 from the West, 2 from Europe, and 6 in North America East. It's a shame that North America East isn't getting way more people in then.
Yeah. I agree.
So the Snatch workout comes. It's won by Tia. Tia won pretty much everything all weekend. And then Shelby took second on that, which, like you said, was amazing. She really moved well through that ladder. Emma Lawson was third. Ashley Wozni she was in heat 3 by then.
She had moved from heat 1 or from heat 2 to heat 3 at that point because she had a great day. Probably one of the best days out of anyone that competed today.
And then Lexi Neely was in 5th.
And Dana had a pretty good time out of heat 1.
Yeah. I mean, she has that Olympic lifting background. So there's no surprise there. I'm assuming she could have gone faster again had she been in a
different heat,
in a better heat in terms of that workout. Yeah, I mean, great finish for Emma Lawson, showing that as she's, getting a little bit older, her Olympic lifting is great though. Like, I'm not sure where her raw strength numbers are. They are getting, I think, stronger, but she's a great Olympic lifter. Did well last year also at the games during those 2 lifts.
Yeah. She just looks smooth at all times on the floor.
She moves very well.
And there was a point where Jamie and I looked at each other. We quit picking Tia for Heat 1 app just because it was boring. Like, who else is going to... Because the game isn't fun when it's just Tia.
Yeah. They got to switch that up so that you can only play her, or each person
eliminated.
Even each person you can only play like once or twice.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So then we flipped to the men's side, and another person who had a great day was Jack Farlow. He followed up event 4 and his heat win with a heat win in this, and his time stood for a long time.
Yeah.
If I remember.
I think till the end you had You had Jack, and then you had
He finished 5th in the snatch ladder.
yeah, with
And the only people that beat him were the final heat.
those 4 guys. And then you had Joe Piero do the touch and go, which that time had to have been up there, top 10, maybe.
Well, he set the time to beat. He was 5:58.
Oh, 5:58.
After that, and then that was the time to beat till Jack.
And then Jack got
and
it.
then nobody in Heat 2 beat either of them. I believe.
Correct.
Or Heat 3, and then the final 4.
All right.
With Hopper, Pepper. Was that Cornway? Yeah, Cornway, because he got all fired up.
Yeah.
And then Krennikov.
Yeah, Cornway's snatch is probably his best lift.
I said to Jamie, of all the athletes that had that like quiet, really solid weekend, it was Sam.
Yep.
He just put in the work day after day after day, and it just paid off at the end. And thank goodness
I'd say Sam for the. Sorry, keep going.
Good thing he did, because his event 6 was his worst finish of the weekend.
And then on the female side, I would say like Alexis Raptis was very quiet all weekend, but like so consistent.
She was.
It.
Yeah. So Joey Piero was like my favorite athlete to talk to all weekend. And he was willing to chat me up about every time I passed him. And he knows what his strengths are, and he knows what his weaknesses are, and he doesn't take any of it too seriously at this point. And it was just a fun little like humorous break from everything that was going on this weekend. You're right, Kenneth. Brooke had a really good weekend too. Other than that, was it the front squat workout? She didn't finish very well, but everything else was super solid. Danielle Brandon, super solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Alexis pick because I actually picked her to finish 2nd in the Heat 1 app, and that she did.
I mean, I was kind of counting Brooke out, so she surprised me.
Yeah. So then we go. Did that? We gave the wrong names for the snatch ladder. I hit the wrong button. Jack Rosema won the snatch ladder.
Right.
And then it was Sam Cornway in 2nd, Pepper in 3rd, Adler in 4th, then Farlow in 5th. So Farlow actually took 2 5ths back to back after being in Heat 1 and then Heat 2.
Yep.
And Piero actually finished right behind him.
Yeah.
In 6th.
Yeah.
So there we go. So Lynn, I know you're asking about DB and the handstand walk. We kind of beat that horse to death a little bit.
We beat Scott to death.
And I'm not bringing it up again because I don't need to get slammed on.
It's a rowing workout. I'll say it.
That's why, Lynn.
Okay. So then we go to event 6 and the women. And this, man, tough workout.
Oh, I've got so many feelings about this.
So that's what happens. It keeps changing on me. Okay. So this was the echo bike into the muscle ups into the heavy dumbbell lunges. I'm going to say this first. I'm not an athlete, so I can't say this. The judging on this event was atrocious. Atrocious.
On the lunges or on the ring muscle ups?
On the lunges. The inconsistency on how the lunges were being called across the board was horrific. And I'm not an athlete, so I can say that. It was horrific. Some judges were making you come to full extension at the top before you swung your leg through. Others were not. Some were letting you rest the dumbbells on your thighs, which blew me away. Others were not. As soon as they touched, it was a no rep. The line calls were mind-boggling. for this great weekend to come down to whether your judge screwed you over or not should not be how you get to the games. And Erica Folo got mega screwed.
Yeah.
Mega screwed. And then once she got the couple no reps, she just had no grip left.
Yeah.
And for her to cap was a shame. She came off the muscle ups in third place in that heat. And what they wanted for extension was insane. She has two 70-pound dumbbells in front of her body. There's going to be some forward lean just naturally for any of us. And to no rep her for that was appalling.
Yeah, I felt really sad watching her. She had such a good weekend. I know this day was a little bit tougher with, I know her handstand walk that's like one of her weaknesses, maybe like rowing and handstand walk. But like she had a great weekend. I think really put her name like on the board, really. People are starting to know about her. I've known about her for many years just because she lives close to me. So I've kind of seen her name pop up, and I thought she could have gone individual last year. So for her to have that heartbreak and to come from an inside position on the last event to an outside position is just hard to see that, right? But she's very, very young, and I think the future is very, very bright for her.
I mean, the fight kind of goes out in somebody when you're no rep like that, and you kind of know you just lost your shot. There's really nothing you can do in that moment. I know people say just like go finish, but like it was over for her with that call, and you can't. Like Scott said, I do not like that someone's fate is in a judge's hand when it's not consistent across the board. Other people did the exact same thing.
I didn't see her no rep. I only saw when she started just losing her grip. So she got no rep for the extension, or she just didn't make it to the line?
Extension. And there was nothing wrong with her extension. She just had a forward lean. Now, what the broadcast probably showed was not the initial no reps. They probably showed her only when she was struggling like hell because she'd been called back 3 times.
Yeah.
And we were right there. We were almost parallel with her when this was happening. I am telling you, I've judged in this sport for many years. It was a bad call.
Bruce says watching it live, the calls looked right. If you say that, Bruce, then you didn't see other lanes of other heats do the exact same thing and get away with it.
Because people were swinging the leg through and not coming to full extension on steps all the time. Bruce, and you're blind. I'm telling you. We watched it.
He probably didn't see it happen to other people.
He said they showed her the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah, follow, but maybe not the
right. You may have not seen, like, Christopher got no repped the second time his dumbbells touched his thighs, but they touched his thighs a line before that, and he didn't get no rep for it.
Yeah.
Oh, Lynn. Yeah, they do. You can read that one.
And so Lynn says, honestly, and maybe it's just me, I always lean and stand up. CrossFit has to release a movement standard book or something. I could not agree with you more. The problem when we argue about all these calls there is no standard movement book. There is no, when you say, what is the lunge standard? We don't know. It's dependent on whatever that competition or this stage of the competition states is the rule. It's a rule, not a standard. And that's where I think this sport needs to go, or we're just going to continue to complain about this.
Well, and some judges seem to interpret those differently.
Because they change for every competition.
It's not okay. Not in a sprint when there's no recovering. Like rep one rep on somebody like Colton, like Erica. You've just changed their fate.
The hard part about this sport is you can't appeal a no rep. Like that's something that I don't know if I know I get it would just be so hard on the appeals and scoring would take forever, but they don't accept any videos that you could show them. They don't allow you to appeal no reps. So like, I wish we had, one case you can make all weekend. You get one, pick the time that you want to appeal your no reps, right? I don't know, like at a minimum, because when there are calls like that, it's just tough. And like, the athlete can't do anything. Like we have no
recourse
there.
No.
Yeah. Train to Lift says one review should be allowed at this stage.
100%.
Oh gosh, I'm working with one screen. Dang it. There we go. Would love to see if anyone has behind the scenes videos showing the workout briefings judges really should be held accountable to, and CrossFit has to do better on that end with the appeals process. Usually media is not allowed in the athlete briefing.
Well, or in that's the one place the media was not allowed, was the judges area.
True.
So we definitely wouldn't be there for the judges being reviewed the standard and discussing that.
I'm okay with your thought, Kenneth. I think 3 is too many in a 6-event weekend.
Absolutely.
1 or 2 tops.
Yeah, and I think people would be hesitant to use those early on in the weekend, knowing like many workouts are left, and it's like, do I use it now? But yeah, I think max 1 at least, but better than 0.
Yeah. So then to the event on the floor. This workout was such a killer. When you watch an Ashley Wozni go unbroken and on her last step into the finish line goes down on one knee and drops the dumbbells, and then she has to go back the 12 feet and do that last one again. I know she finished 15th. Near the line. 15th. That may have made a difference. Annika, man, every year we get to that last event and something happens. One freaking point again outside. And just so you know, like she was behind Lexi Neely going into that event. She beat Lexi in the event, but at the point where they both finished, it was only a 2-point difference, and it was a 3-point lead. So, and then on the men's side, the Annika of the men's side is Tyler Christoffel. Honestly, like the whole time, Jamie and I are saying, all he has to do is finish with a decent time. Like, just go 2 blocks, drop the dumbbells, shake it out, go 2 more, shake it out, get to the end. And he just completely blows up on that last one.
And that's all Annika had to do too. She was in a pretty safe position. All she had to do was just play it safe. You don't have to go unbroken on the ring muscle ups. You don't have to bike super, super hard. And like you said, break up your sections and just get a decent finish and you're fine.
So Lex, what I saw that Annika did is she actually rested the head of the dumbbell on her thigh. That was the no rep that got called. I think that's a legit no rep. But Tyler Christoffel did it once and didn't get called, did it a second time, then they called it. That's the inconsistency that just is baffling to me. And Gardy, Sanchez, Christoffel, and Annika both the last couple of years, just last event curses. At this point, that's what it is.
It's sad to see.
It is.
You feel for them so much. Like I've been in that position once before in 2018 to Chloe. Like it's rough. Like we each of us had a bad workout and we're waiting at the end and you're like, did I do enough? Did I do enough? Like that's a hard position. And to have that happen many like multiple years in a row, like that's tough.
I looked at Jamie, I think it was yesterday. No, it was this morning. It was this morning for the handstand walk row workout. Annika's in a heat with Brooke Wells and Emma Lawson and Alexis Raptis and Tia Toomey, and all the cameras are on Annika.
No, it was just Annika and Brooke. They weren't in the final heat with
The row?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. But there were still like big names,
Yeah,
like
you got Brooke
in
there.
that heat.
Yeah.
And every camera is on Annika. Like, why? That's just a lot. And I don't know. It just seemed like a lot.
Yeah. She beat Lexi by 1 spot, so not enough. If it was 2 spots, then she would have been in. That comes into play with the FOLO calls and no reps. Like, could she have been that person that middled them?
Well,
Not only did she get totally effed over, or maybe she didn't. Maybe you guys all agree with it, but not only did it, and that's you don't ever want, like, Annika can't rely on other people. Of course, she needs to just do what she needs to do and be safe. But
the one thing we can say this year is Annika, it was on her.
Yeah,
like
the run
this
could have
year,
gone slightly better, and it was not an issue, right?
Right. There was no bad call this year. There was no judgment thing. It was, she just had to do better on one event.
Yeah.
And it could have been the run. It could have been the snatch ladder, one place. It was 1 point at the end of the weekend.
I didn't see her not standing up her lunges.
I didn't
personally.
either. Nathan Wilson says, I'm behind. Buffalo was the only one in that heat that wasn't standing up their lunges. And then when she got a no rep, she was able to change. It was so clearly she could do it. Not everybody was calling that standing up the lunge issue across the board. Train to Live says she needed to Travis Mayer that event. Exactly.
He did great. He came in clutch.
Just had to do enough to get some points. So at least this year it wasn't in somebody else's hands. She had it in her ability to make it. But Annika's hair was amazing, though. Sucks to see because Annika has done so much running this past year. But that first workout took no prisoners. If you didn't pace well, it feels like Farlow got caught in that too.
Absolutely. And Carolyne. So many people got eaten up by that. Went out too hot. Went out with the lead pace. In round 4 and 5 was a disaster.
Yep. I had medical. It was bad.
T. Kane just joined. Super stoked for Chloe. Had her in my top 10 after your podcast that you did with her. So, yeah.
Scott and I talked about Chloe prior to doing that podcast. And you reached out to me and you're like, what are her big holes? And I was like, no, like this girl is so good at everything. And once the workouts were out, like there was no doubt in my mind that she was qualifying. No doubt. Like this day 3 was made for her. It's all of her strengths. She's amazing on her hands. She's such a good rower. She is unreal with snatching at high weight. Like she has a 200-pound snatch and she hits like a 190 consistently in training. She's probably a top 3 in the world in ring muscle ups. I think she can do like 25 unbroken. High level gymnast. And then played that right. She was one of the slowest person off the bike. went unbroken on the rings, took her time to pick up the dumbbells, and finished. Like, she did unbelievable.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because you know her as an athlete really well. She was coaching a team at this event, and she was taking that very seriously on Friday and Saturday when they were going. How much help was it when they were done and she could then just focus on herself today? Or was it just that's just happened to be when the workouts were better for her?
I think the workouts were better for her today.
Okay.
And on top of it, but even with the workouts better for her, I still think that the team not qualifying was heavy on her heart, because I had a long talk with her this in the morning, and she's invested in that Pro 1 team. Obviously, her boyfriend's on the team. Those are her friends on the team. So I think it was obviously, a disappointment for them not to make it. So her heart was kind of in both places, but I just think she has so much natural talent that once it's 3, 2, 1, go, she's able to perform.
So I'm going to ask you one more question about her. She was supposedly retired, as she said on the podcast.
No, she just said she was tired, not retired. She was just tired. Took a little break.
And then she clarified to say she just was going to do things in a different manner moving forward. She wanted a game spot, though, right? Like, if she's doing this, she wanted a game spot.
I think it's a way for her to take the pressure off, just to say, I'm just kind of participating. But she knows she's talented, but it's confidence in her. And then I think it's just not trying to put pressure on herself to not choke and stuff like that. But
is she celebrating right now that she punched her ticket?
Probably, but then again, there's probably part of her that's disappointed that the team doesn't make it. 1 second, I go grab my treat that Lex ordered for me.
Okay.
I'm curious what you got.
So if we flip over to the men's side,
Yeah.
There were a lot of big bike boys in that final heat. And of all those people, who would have picked Alex Carolyne to hammer the bike harder than anybody?
I don't know. Probably you.
No, it wasn't me.
That wasn't me.
I wasn't picking him over Roman or Hopper or Dallin, but holy cow. I bet it's ice cream.
It just spilled a little bit everywhere.
Oh, no.
We'll probably melt it on the trip here. Melt it a little bit.
Oh, blizzard.
It's a blizzard.
So Carolyne,
I'm drinking it right now.
Carolyne came out super, super hot. And I was worried then about the muscle ups, but they did not seem to bother him until the last rep, and he somehow pulled it out. And then the lunge, he was doing really, really well until the no rep.
Yeah.
And everybody seemed to drop at the same time. A little bit here and there. But my dark horse that I said last week was going to qualify for the games was Jack Rosema. And Jack Rosema big boyed those dumbbells, did the Heinrich Hypolainen at the finish line, stood there with them both in his hand, and then threw them to the ground. That was awesome.
Great final.
So did Dallin, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dallin's a specimen. I don't know when that kid's going to take over the sport, but he's going to really soon.
Mm-hmm.
Not under Jeff's watch, though. Jeff's good.
Oh, I picked Jeff to win. I think, you're not the champ till you beat the champ. But Jeff had a solid weekend, and he won. Like everybody was impressed by Roman and impressed by Dallin and impressed by other people, but dang, Jeff just steady Eddie.
Well, if Dallin would have gotten the win that he deserved on the rope time.
I think, but it would have been Jeff because they both got no reps.
Yeah, but okay. I guess what I should say, if Roman would have gotten the no rep he deserved and Dallin would have actually won.
If he didn't step on the line, though. Like his was a no rep as well.
Right, but Roman didn't get called. His did.
Yeah, Roman definitely like was a no rep, but you couldn't step down on the outside. You had to finish your step down in your lane, and then you have to run across. If you step down and your foot touches the line on any of our box jump step downs, it was a no rep. Many guys and girls got 2 no reps. They would get no reps for stepping down and having their hands on the box ready to move it. That a lot of people got no reps for that without that second foot being on the ground before the hands touched. And if your foot touched the line at any point, so people don't jump around a little bit or on the corner of a box, if you step down and your foot was outside of the line, it was a no rep. You had to finish both inside. So technically, both were no reps. And they both sprinted and were exhausted, Jeff would. I didn't see Jeff if he did the same thing. I'm sure that happened on a lot of people's last one before they sprinted. Like it had, because you're just getting ready.
So I was surprised more people didn't do. I watched, I don't even know who it was, but I think it was in Heat 2, a guy, because you always were running to your box, doing your 10 box jump overs, finishing and running back to your rope. And I watched one guy out of one heat run past the box, do his box jumps, and so he was done and ran in. I am very surprised more people didn't do that, so that you didn't have that issue of running around the box. You had to go around the box at some point, right? Yeah. Why not before?
Good point.
Yeah. It's been brought up in the chat by Helson. Seth Stovall had a great weekend.
Yeah, he did. So did Dre.
Yeah. I got to interview Seth, and Dre photobombed it, which was like a fun thing to catch on camera. The two of them seem to be having like a friendly rivalry, kind of like Roman and Pepper with the bike stuff. Dre and Seth were trading blows all weekend long with each other, and I think it made them both great and both relaxed for the weekend.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Mayhem boys in that top 5 for that last workout.
Yeah.
They dominated that one. I think just Dallin was the only one that wasn't Mayhem in that top 5.
Yeah.
And would you have picked Seth to go unbroken on that lunge?
Like or Dre?
Wow. They must do a lot of farmer carries at Mayhem, because that seemed to be good for them.
Yeah.
How many athletes are working on farmers carries between now and Fort Worth?
Well, you've seen the step ups at quarterfinals. You've seen now the lunging with the farmer position. So maybe you'll see some sort of walking with maybe axle bars or something. I don't know, some sort of progression there.
Nathan Wilson said, I don't think anybody would have picked Dre to get second on event 6. So that was fun. So at the end of the weekend, we have 11 people who have punched their tickets to the CrossFit Games. We've alluded to some of it along the way, but I will read the names very quickly. On the women's side, you have Tia Claire Toomey, Alexis Raptis, Emma Lawson, Danielle Brandon, Shelby Neal, Haley Adams, Brooke Wells, Paige Semenza, Chloe Gavin David, Carolyne Stanley, and Lexi Neely. On the men's side, We have, oh, wow. Sure we do. We have Jeff Adler, Dallin Pepper, Roman Krenikoff, Jason Hopper, Samuel Corniat, YA, Jack Rosema, Saxon Panchek, Austin Hatfield, Alexander Carone, Travis Mayer, and Luke Parker. I truly thought Luke had lost it in the last event, but there was a big enough points difference between him and Seth to hold him off. So he was able to do that. I know Lex was in the chat earlier saying that Austin Hatfield had a great weekend, and he did. You know, everybody's compared him to. First, let me give a shout out to my co-host, Jamie Latimer, who picked Austin last year as her dark horse pick.
Mm-hmm.
Before anybody really even knew who this guy was, before John Young inducted him into the Hall of Fame, Jamie was calling Austin Hatfield last year. So she called it early. It came to fruition this year. It was really cool. But he's taller than I. When everybody compares him to Colton, he definitely is a head above Colton. Like there's definitely some more height to this guy.
Is there two rookies for the men? Jack and Austin?
Yeah.
Yep.
2. And 2 for the women? No.
Lex.
1.
Lex Neely.
Just her.
I think so. I think just her.
Yeah, just 1.
Travis Mayer's not a rookie. Oh wait. Women.
Yeah, just 1 rookie for the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Because Shelby's been, Carolyne Stanley's been, your top 5.
Chloe's been.
Yeah, Chloe's been. Yep.
Herd Athletics in the house. Chloe Gavon David. Is that 3 goats? I don't have my glasses on. Is that 3 poodles? 3 goats?
I have no idea. Both male rookies were at Crash. That's true.
Sorry if I missed it. Any surprises with Barnhart and Fee out?
So, whatever, Wednesday, I don't know, last week when we were talking and made our picks, I said it was either one of the girls, Brooke or Amanda, were going to be out. The shoulder was going to give them troubles this weekend. So, no, it's not a surprise for me that Barnhart is out.
Yeah, I think that Amanda has had a lot of life changes, plus shoulder surgery.
She didn't have surgery.
Shoulder recovery. That was well documented. She didn't even get up into rings until a couple months ago. So yeah, that's not a shock. Fee, I think Fee is just so program dependent right now. She's trying to change that, but that doesn't happen overnight. I was impressed she finished the snatch ladder. I think that is a marked improvement. And I love Fee. I love that girl to death. But right now, until she closes up some holes, very program dependent.
Agree.
I would say most of the field is program dependent, though.
Yeah, outside of your top 5 or 6. Yeah,
Outside of your top 5, top 6. Honestly, it's all program dependent.
I agree.
We all have holes, and it just depends what the workouts are.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's some weekends favor certain athletes, some weekends favor others. Sometimes you just have bad execution, but for a lot of us, it's program dependent.
So Gardy, poking fun at you from the pod last week. Emma is not on Tia's level. I did not say that Emma would beat her at semifinals. My semifinal pick was Tia, Alexis, Emma, Danielle, which is what happened. I said that Emma was going to beat Tia at the games, and that is still TBD.
That is not even TBD. There is 0 shot.
It is still TBD. I have my reasons.
Oh, okay. Oh, you think Tia's going to pop here at semis?
No, I don't think Tia's going to pop. I think it's a lot of work on the body to be a games athlete, and you can never know when something happens.
No, she'll be fine.
All right, and I guess it was zebras
Got
that
it.
were in the chat. Dex is in the chat. He was supposed to be here being my videographer, but man, can't find a babysitter in Birmingham apparently. He was surprised Fee is out, to be honest.
The big difference there is that Lexi had 2 really, really good finishes inside the top 5. Like Lexi has a 2nd and a 5th, and that just gets so many points. Like Fee was pretty consistent overall, but she never got anything better than a 10th. And normally that's good enough to qualify, but when you get like these top 5 like when an athlete in this field in North America East can get a top 5, it is huge. They can get almost like all 30s after that, but they'll be like 20th place because they got a huge amount of points that rarely anyone gets on those top 5 athletes. And Lexi was able to do 2 finishes in the top 5. Like that was the main difference right there. Overall, like Fee was pretty consistent throughout like the weekend. She had 1 bad finish with the row and handstand walk, which is expected. She's one of the smaller athletes on the field. But you like in these type of weekends, consistency can get you pretty far, but when you can get a top 5 finish, like you could just get so many points there. And she just never had anything in the top 10.
Dex says, apparently Carolyne has passed the ball to Dex. Dex says 100%. Carolyne, everybody is a specialist when shit they love to see show up. And so now I'm being slam dunked on by Dex. Dexter's heavy lift and bike sprint and circus gymnastics. That's what he loves to see show up. There's some preferences on who people wanted to see. Kenneth, Taylor Self thoughts, haven't mentioned him. I don't mention him a lot, and it's not because I have anything against him. He is who he is, but he is covered a lot on other media platforms. So I like to cover the other people as well. But I thought he had a solid weekend. The guy didn't plan on coming this far, and he did, and he represented himself well.
Yeah, I thought he did great.
Similar to Fee. He never had he got 2 9th places, but wasn't able to get like really a top 5 finish, right? But
yeah.
That's gonna be
just that 28. That front squat workout is where he lost most of his points.
Yep.
And now Dex throws me the ball. I think Emma isn't a semifinal programming baller like she is at the games. Very different. Thank you, Dex, for the assist. Tia should compete in the men's field. Lexi hit some home runs for the cushion, for sure. And this is really where Fee got hurt, was the handstand row workout, which was actually kind of surprising.
Yeah,
No, it's not. She's 5 foot. She's 5 foot something. She's not going to pull the rower.
Yes, she is.
As much.
Oh, I forgot that
as
I was
much as those girls.
I forgot it was.
I don't know how her speed is on the handstand walk, but I don't think she's like a speedster like Danielle, Annika. There's a lot of good gymnasts in our field. Very good gymnasts, like on their hands. Haley Adams. So if you don't have like a 150 row on like that 800 one, I'm not that surprised on that rowing workout.
I think she could have been close to the 152 range and been competitive. She rode very hard in the quarterfinals workout.
Yeah, she did.
Annika surprised on the machine. She is about 5'1". She did. She really surprised me. So they have been working on that a lot, apparently.
Yeah, she was holding like 155, I think. Monica,
Yeah.
on the 800, I think I saw on the screen.
She was just a tick behind Brooke
Yeah,
on
she
that.
was holding very close to Brooke. It was crazy.
Yeah. But if you looked at her face, I don't even think she saw the monitor. She had her eyes closed. It was a pained look. Because I think she had to give everything she had to keep that pace. Everybody's saying Tia's unbeatable. We'll see at the games. You heard it here first. Lynn says, this is to Dan Church. Nick Matthews mentioned before that once you've locked in as a games athlete, your system and abilities are in sync like nothing else. That's why she's so dominant like Matt.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with that.
Houston, Texas 94. My wife and I traveled out here for semis, and the parity between places 6th through 15th, the entire weekend on both sides made it worth it.
So, I'm also not the hugest fan of 3 workouts on day, like half of your event on day 3. There's so much mix up.
To not reseed also before the final. That sucks.
Yeah.
And I know nobody cares, but from a media perspective, there's no time. There's no time between events to talk to anybody, to get any content uploaded, to do anything like that. It really does kind of put us behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Dan Church says, honestly, though, I had no idea what was going on in the podium spots. The cut line was the exciting part. That's what makes semifinals great. It's the cut line. It's great to see the top dogs out there doing what they're doing. But the tension and the drama behind the cut line is worth the price of admission to semifinals. And it did not disappoint one bit this weekend.
Speaking of the price of admission, what do you guys think about the fans here?
So good. So not just good, but great. The vendor village was packed. The community event was cool. The stands filled. There was a great crowd on Friday.
Yeah.
An even better crowd on Saturday. And usually that dips on Sunday, but it did not dip today. The house was pretty packed.
Well, half your events were today. So if you came to watch any of the individuals, you kind of needed to be here today.
Do you think having only individuals go on Sunday, even though you hate your 3 events, made the crowds better?
I don't know, honestly. The crowds yesterday for teams was hype. Like
It was. I'll give you that.
Like the cheers, the groups in their shirts, and you had a little of that today. Like you had Hatfield's crowd, you had Haley's crowd for sure. That was really evident. But I thought the team contingent maybe outweighed the individual fans.
Yeah. Yeah. I was here in 22 and 21. The crowds weren't like that. Like, we've definitely moved forward here. And please, let's never go back to California again for a semifinal.
Yeah.
Because that did not work.
I agree with Kenneth here. Like, where you pick your semifinals, like, you have to pick by where there's, like, you know, a big community of CrossFitters that are going to travel. Like, the Mayhem group here in Tennessee are going to travel. Like, they're, you know, it's not that far away. So that affiliate's going to travel, and just, you know, you have to pick cities that it's, first of all, it's easy to get to, it's cheap, and there's a lot of good affiliates around.
It was only a 5.5-hour drive from Columbus. It's only an hour drive to North Carolina. It's not that far to Georgia with the Training Think Tank crew. Like, you have a lot of hot spots. Yes, Mayhem's an hour and a half away, but there's other big hotbeds for CrossFit are in this surrounding area. But Mayhem was loud.
Yeah.
But Haley's from North Carolina, and I think she brought more.
But what
you
I'm
cover
saying
a
is
little bit
like,
of both.
what I'm saying is wherever the location is, let's put it by one of those places where you know that that type of community is going to come.
Eighth day team had incredible performances from the first heat. Yeah, we talked about that a lot yesterday. They went from the first heat to fourth place overall, which was pretty freaking astounding. And Jamie's close to them because they live near her in Michigan. So we talked to them a lot after the event. Super impressed with Alexis Raptis making some small mistakes in workouts and still sticking with it and finishing strong. Silent Assassin. She just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Gardy says, agree. Loved the opportunity to go back to Carson for historical purposes, but we've exhausted the options in California.
Yes. Agree. It's too expensive. Travel there, like flights there are expensive. Hotels there are expensive. Literally everything there.
When every time I would text Wad Zombie, he said, California fans don't show up.
So what's going to happen with Wadapalooza SoCal? Do people want to travel to California in the summer?
I have no idea.
It'll be interesting, right? Because people like to go to Wadapalooza, like in Florida, like in January, because for a lot of people, it's winter time, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Lex says, novel concept. What if they did semis in the cities with the most signups through the season?
Maybe through the previous season so that they can actually plan ahead, because I think they would need, well, do they plan ahead? I don't know. But ideally, you would look at the past season. If you want your semifinals to be close by, you know, and then let's book it last minute, and let's book it the same weekend as something else.
Memorial Day weekend. Yeah.
The problem is they don't plan ahead and they're stuck with dates and venues that they can get last minute, you know? And that's where it sucks. But I think
that is a good idea.
I was worried because in Knoxville didn't really show up in 22. Well, they tried to do that back-to-back thing here in 22, and I think it split the crowd.
Yeah.
But this year was freaking awesome. I think the vendors were happy. I heard they were selling out stuff like on Friday.
And Northern Spirit, they hooked up like the judges, the volunteers, the athletes. Like it's like I mentioned this last time during, I think, the West Coast, but I mean it's great to see a sponsor at least, you know, give that to the athletes. Are you guys sponsored by Northern Spirit, Jamie, for the Masters games?
Yes.
The logo, like that logo is growing on me, like the way that it was saying, you know, the CrossFit Games semifinals. Like it's very easy to see. Like I remember at the beginning of the season, we weren't sure about the logo and if a kid drew it and stuff. Like, but like it's growing on me.
I heard the Masters, though, are getting the French striped T-shirts for their uniforms. So they can all be mimes. Linda Jiri says, also, I don't know if they did an analysis, but most of the people I talked to were less than 5 years in the sport. No nostalgia isn't a good catch if most of the attendees are newer.
That's a good point.
Very good point.
Lex says, do you think more people would come if it was at the ranch versus Carson?
No.
There's no seating there.
Are there hotels around the ranch?
No.
Well, then no.
Sebastian says, was looking forward to Laura versus Tia, but after this, not so much.
No.
Houston, Texas, 2094. Tons of young families there this weekend. Tons, including the mayor kids, surprising their dad, watching him compete for the first time.
That was adorable.
That was cute. They got so pumped when his name got called at the end.
What if they move to bidding for locations? I think, I don't know.
I feel like the whole season's going to change next year. So
Yep.
who knows?
There might not even be CrossFit next year.
Lord Wang says, I'd be more likely to volunteer if they gave a different color shirt for each day. Well, I think the problem with that is each group of volunteers get a different color. So you know what judge is blue, medical is red, athlete control is generally like a baby blue or yellow. Like they actually, so you can identify what role that volunteer has for the weekend. But I talked to volunteers. They said it is the most hooked up they have ever been for any event doing volunteering. Kenneth asks, what about Boise? They've got a lot of CrossFit gyms in Idaho and Salt Lake City, in that area in the Pacific Northwest. I don't think that'd be a bad option.
Yeah. That or Vegas. I mean, Vegas is, I would think, a smarter choice. They have cheap flights to Vegas.
Yeah, like there's always a lot going on in Vegas, but it's so cheap that I think that's an easy way for people to just go there.
Yeah.
I agree. And when they had the West Coast Classic there, the venue, the hotel attached to the venue was not expensive. It's off the strip, so you're not paying like the big prices of the strip. And you could walk down from your hotel room and into the venue.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus the casino had like 5 restaurants in it. So like you didn't even have to leave the building the entire time you were there, which was, thank God, because it was 118 degrees. Lex says Reno. The only thing I know about Reno is from Johnny Cash. Dallin prove he can fight with Jeff and Roman.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And HQ should just consult with this channel.
We're available.
I talked to Dave this weekend. He welcomed me to the semifinal and asked if there's anything he could do for me.
Did you ask him for a pass for the games?
I did not. I just said I have a list. I'll get back with you at the end of the weekend.
You had your opportunity, Scott.
And just to follow up on yesterday and my beef with Little Miss Puffy Pants. I did not run into that today, but I want to make it clear. Yes, I said Lauren Khalil's name. Yes, I said Patrick Clark's name. I don't have beef with the two of them. I have beef that they never get talked to the way that we get talked to. We follow the procedures and get lectured. They don't follow the procedures and nobody says a word to them. So my beef isn't with them. My beef is with the way that everything is administered.
It's like me in no reps on the floor, right?
Right.
Like my beef technically is with the judges not being consistent.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, my beef with that is that CrossFit has not made a standard on anything. So it's hard on the judges.
Okay.
So, but today I had no security was called on me today, like yesterday. No, I didn't have to talk to the head of media. None of that stuff happened today. We were just chill and cool. And even though Miss Puffy Pants was back at her stage, holding down the fort, we were okay today.
Did you see Gardy was commenting on why maybe like Denver or some of those places don't get picked is because of elevation affecting? I could see that.
True. But we're going to Texas with extreme heat. We went to West Coast Classic with extreme heat and elevation. Vegas has elevation. You're in the bowl on the top of a mountain range. So, and those athletes dealt with it okay.
Lex, I have not riffed about no judging for masters
Did you get any video looked at?
I got one video reviewed and approved.
Well, that's what they said, right? In the rule book that they were looking at one video and may ask for others.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. And if it would have turned out to be like individual quarters where there was 33% of video to no repped, maybe I would agree. But I don't actually think they reviewed the videos, because I think there was like 20 no reps or adjustments or across all the divisions given out.
Which one got reviewed?
Grubb was trying to do a poll on that and get some numbers of that. So I'm very curious to see how many. I think one person got a penalty, and nobody's even sure in my bracket, because I moved 1 point. I moved from like 144 points to 143 points or something weird like that. So something got knocked out, and I don't know
which one did they look at?
At all. It just should be it should be, once the leaderboard goes live, everyone's video should be required to be attached, just like I've said for individuals, and it should be a public leaderboard where I guess we just all shame each other, because there's really going to be no other way to get people to hold standard.
Okay, ask your question again, Carolyne. Attempt 4.
Which video got reviewed? I don't know. 3? Do you remember which one I sent you? 3, I think.
I don't remember.
Like, was it movements that typically get no reps, or like what movements was it now? Let me go on the game site. Number 3.
The only change in the leaderboard I saw was Dex going from 41st to 40th, which I'm stoked about. But that's the only change in any leaderboard that I saw. And made your 1 point. And I saw videos posted on Instagram that should have been knocked the hell out of.
Well, that's the other thing, is like there are videos out there that have been pulled. I don't know if the people have them public or other people are sharing them or what. That are terrible.
We do know this, Lex. We looked it up today to make sure, but our 41-year-old Brazilian qualified for the elite CrossFit Games. Yeah. So she will be forced to take another drug test. But Jamie's not allowed to talk about that anymore. Only me. I'm the only one that's allowed to talk about that. Thank God she gets another test.
And I mean, we'll see if she does
She'll
both.
pass it.
Yeah, but it's just like the theory of numbers. The more she gets tested, the better the shot that one comes back with the actual evidence.
Speaking of, because she's currently our only person who made it, and you said we talked to Will today. We said we would on your live.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
We did talk to Will Moorad today. He's having an MRI tomorrow to determine the extent of the injury he suffered this weekend. And he'll know more as to whether he is even able to go to the Masters CrossFit Games.
So this was something that happened during the second event and not something that he was coming in with?
I think it's something he's been fighting through that went to a level that now he needs an MRI. Gotcha. So, but he was in really good spirits.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, it's just that sport. It happens. And that man's been through a lot. Like his wife's cancer diagnosis, and then his misdiagnosis of the kidney or liver disease that actually wasn't true, and he was able to come back from all that. And he's just a good guy. And he goes, now all I can do is cheer on my friends and see if they get tickets to the games, and that's what I'm going to do. But he did. The one sad part was, he goes, I know all my testing times, and I'm looking at the leaderboard. I would have made the games.
Yeah. I mean, anything could have happened, right? Grip could have failed him. Things were happening out there but yeah, I think I liked his shot too.
Yeah. So so that it was just good to talk to him, and he's in good spirits. But so yeah, Train to Live. That's what we've been talking about. The 41-year-old Brazilian making it to the games.
Yeah, maybe she'll can only afford or have the time to come over for one of them and chooses individual and skips the Masters.
So she's the only one that made it through both, because we've never had someone do both. So she could be. She is the Lone Ranger.
I said to Jamie today that maybe her cycle won't let her do both. She has to pick one or the other. So, and Will's allowed to think that. I know that like testing times are different, but after you get injured and you don't get to complete the event, it's all you have to hang your hat on, right?
Yeah.
And you just, so anyway, anything left here?
I agree with this. Staying healthy is part of the games, and it's true.
That is been Scott's big thing with.
Yeah, everybody's still giving Roman credit for winning the games
Right,
last year when he didn't win.
Okay,
Wasn't in the league
so
and he didn't
Jeff
stay-
won after 10 events.
Right, I agree.
Right.
But I have to pull this up. Kenneth says, I hear she's a great cyclist. I hear that as well, my friend. I hear that as well.
Lance Armstrong.
Might have missed this, but have y'all tuned in at all to South America Semi and Guy's performance? Did not tune in to anything. We have been swamped, busy the entire weekend, but did see his time in the snatch ladder. Uber impressed.
Yeah.
But I think John Young said this on their podcast. Okay, we know Guy can lift.
Yeah, was expected.
That's what he does.
Yep. No, I did not know she was a doctor.
That is right. She is.
Wow.
And the access.
Wow. Really pulling that needle right out of the haystack there.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness gracious.
Okay. Also, and she knows how to play with the hormone cycle. We listened to John Young a little bit on the way back from the venue to dinner, and then from dinner to the hotel. So I did hear him rant a little bit about that he's good at the lifts and he doesn't seem to get better at the other stuff. And that's why John doesn't, it's not that he doesn't like him, doesn't favor him to do anything more than he does at the games.
Yeah, I kind of agree with him on that. Like, he hasn't shown that he's willing to work on those other weaknesses. Like, he's just taking his big wins and staying in that lane. And
is he going to get top 10 at the games like he has?
I doubt it.
I think the field has gone deeper and deeper, and I don't know for this year.
Right.
Like, now you got Dallin and Hopper now in the mix, and Justin's back, and it's gonna be good.
Austin Hatfield, Mount Rushmore CrossFitter, according to John. C. McCannon's Prevo. Sean Woodland told us your athlete history. I had no idea you're a beast. Well, apparently you didn't listen to the interviews we've done with Carolyne over the past few years.
Rough weekend this time, but I'll be back. The workouts were not good for me this weekend. I was exposed. I'm not good at double unders or echo biking.
Was there, so the double unders, I'm watching close because I know that that's been your thing. There was a moment where you strung together a lot, like for one stretch. Is there anything you can take from that, like that you did differently, or it just happened to go on that one?
No, some days I can do 75, maybe 100 unbroken. Some days it's sets of 10. Like it hit or miss. So it's like if I'm doing well, it's like, okay, ride the wave. Just keep going because I don't know when the next time I just get fatigue over 500 and it gives me a lot of anxiety. So I need to breathe and like I can go unbroken on the toaster bars. That's fine. The front squats, it's fine. But it's just, for me, it's just a double under workout.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Daniel Church says it's tough though. For instance, I'm a strong guy and I work endurance a ton. I will suck at it, but I can still power clean 340. Despite doing 6 months of running, my 5K is only like 28 minutes. So the one beef I have with John Young, I probably have more than one, but I like the guy. He makes me think and he makes me debate and he gives me ideas for my content. So I'm going to preface it with that. But John is very much, if you have to prove it to him for him to go down that road. I think that's why people were shocked with the Austin Hatfield, because he went more forward thinking with that he doesn't normally do.
Mm-hmm.
He is very much a show me. And until Guy shows him at the games that he's changed, he's not going to believe anything.
Yeah.
Well, he's not afraid to say if he made a mistake on someone, though.
No. I'm not dogging John, but that's just his. If you listen to him a lot, he'll say, well, they've never done it before, as to why they're not going to be good.
He needs to be convinced, or he needs to see something in the athlete that he's all in, right? Like he's an all or none. Yeah. There's no between for him. Like he's either all in on you or he's doubtful.
Oh, he admitted it.
He did say he's very much a "what have you done for me lately" guy. It is. And there's nothing wrong with that. He just needs to see the visual evidence before he's willing to go down that road. I think when you listen to like a JR is going to look at it from a coaching perspective and say, ooh, I'm seeing improvement here. They have the potential.
Yeah.
That's why JR and John talking is a good mix. And there's times where John will go, okay, JR, you've convinced me. But that doesn't happen a ton.
Yep.
Lynn says, Guy is working on it. I'm in Tennessee, and Guy is in local comps and triathlons and 5Ks this off season. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah, he's built to be a power athlete. Like it's hard to switch that over.
Yeah. It really, really was. Yeah. I agree. Well, I am just about toast, and we've gone really long. And we've got to pack because Jamie has a middle of the night airline ticket. And then I'm just going to drive home from there. So with that, thank you so much for being in here tonight. Thank you to the chat for adding so much to the conversation. Thank you for Carolyne taking time out of your busy weekend to jump on with us. With that, guys, we bid you adieu from Knoxville, Tennessee, and we'll see everybody next week on Sunday Night CrossFit.
Carolyne, we're super proud of you.
Super proud.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Bye, guys.